This is a tutorial on how we can use ContextMinds. So here we are on our main page and we can see all of our maps. And if we wanted to order them, let's say by the last time you've edited it or alphabetically, we can do that. Here we can, in the search bar, look for one of our maps. Let's say we have a lot of them and we want to look for a particular one. So let's say we wanted to find traveling tips. So we'll just put traveling and it will come right up. So it's an easy way to do that. And then let's go ahead and create our first map. Let's say that our topic will be traveling with your pet. Since I'm actually interested in traveling with my pet abroad, and so I want to have everything mapped out in front of me, all the steps from beginning to end. And then I'd like to create a blog about this for my readers on my website about how they can travel with their pet abroad, have everything visualized perfectly in front of them, all the steps, and then they can be well informed of how to take this trip with their pet. How to travel with your pet. Now you can have your map turned private, or you can keep it on. You can keep it private. Now, if you mind that other people in the ContextMinds community might see what you're working on, or you can have it public, that's up to you. Or maybe sometime in the future when you're ready to publish your work, then you can have it public if you'd like the rest of the ContextMinds community to see what you've been working on. And then there's a description. You can have a description, you can have some tags, but none of this really matters that much. You can always come back and change it later and choose a template. We have a couple to choose from. Article outline brainstorming is the first one, content brief, research or study map, content strategy, keyword research, video scripts, starburst, brainstorm, and website structure. And it all really depends on what is useful and relevant for you. If you already know what you're doing and you don't want to use templates, you can definitely start from scratch. But these templates here are really useful as they provide you with placeholders and hints and arrows to get you in the right direction. You'll know if you should start working from the left to the right, and if you'll be outlining a blog for your website, or if you're going to strategize on keywords and SEO. But let's say that we're going to create some kind of article. We need to draft up an article and we need to make an outline first. So we would choose this one, article outline brainstorming, select template, click create. And here we can see that there's a template made out for you. And we have some kind of placeholders here. We have these blue bubbles, which we can get rid of later, but they're just hints. You can also see them here on the right side. And they're just hints for us to be able to organize things better. And it's best to kind of start from the left, work our way up down here to the article outline, which will be really an important part of everything. And as we go along, we can kind of delete these and make it cleaner and make it more visible. So here we can see the related concepts down in the bottom. We have all, so that's going to include everything: topics, keywords, questions, headings, internal, and maps. We can also do it one by one. We also have the option of turning ChatGPT on or off. And this, if we turn it on, it might take a minute or so before you can see the results. We may want to use ChatGPT here as well because we're not fully satisfied with what we have come up with just ourselves or the SEO part of the related concepts. And we want to add the additional AI part of this to help us create the absolute maximum and find the best related concepts we can find. And so let's say we're going to start with our seed topic. So we're going to click this green button and let's say we're going to type in how to or traveling with your pet. Here we have scopes, which you can turn on: personal, related topics, community, trending questions, related keywords, and we can check and uncheck the ones we need. And at the same time, we can either use what we have written up here at the search bar and just click add, and it will be on our map. Or we can try to look through one of these suggestions and see if that's better for us. We may want to use what we have just written ourselves and add it to the map, but maybe there are some concepts here in the suggestions that we feel are so much better than what we have come up with. Or we just want to look at them as an inspiration for later, or even just add them to the map for right now and then move them around the map or delete them later. Let's say we're just going to just use what we've written and put it here in our seed topics. Now, if we click on this concept, it's going to show us everything related to this concept that we have selected. Now, if we have just clicked on the blank canvas, it would show us everything that relates to the entire map. So we have topics, keywords, and questions right here. So we can start on working on that. Let's say some topics, and we've also turned on ChatGPT suggestions. We can maximize this a bit. We have traveling with your pet as a topic, as a concept, and we have it selected. And now we're at the topics category, and we can go ahead and put a few of these related suggestions into our box over here. Let's say finding pet-friendly accommodation sounds good. Let's select this one again. We can always load more suggestions. Managing your pet's anxiety while traveling. Let's delete these from our way. And we're deleting these placeholders and hints as we go, since our map is becoming much more cleaner and visible for us. Let's also look at some keywords and questions. Traveling with tips for safe traveling with pets, pet-friendly accommodation, flying with pets, pet travel regulations. Those are all good. Questions. As we're scrolling through these concepts down below, we can also see that some of the concepts have some information. You can see question volume, there's a number. And then there's also KD, which stands for keyword difficulty. There's a number there too. And that just means the higher the number, the more difficult it will be, the more in demand that keyword is for SEO. How to travel with your pet. How do you make airline reservation if you want to travel with your pet? Maybe we can do a few more topics and put them in here. Pet passport might be good. Let's select flying with pets. Good. Or we can try to add our own seed topic. In my scope, I have chosen related keywords and related topics, as what I'm really interested in is what are people these days or this past month searching for in relation to my topic. What can I find that is related to people searching for these days? And let's say pet-friendly airlines. We can go ahead and choose that. After selecting the concept, we can see some important information, keyword metrics. We have search volume, ranking difficulty, total monthly clicks, organic clicks, and the source. Not all of these concepts will have this information because maybe they're not in demand enough. And it depends if you care a lot about ranking high in the search engine, if you care a lot about what clicks are organic or not, and if some keywords are too in demand. You can click add and put them here. Now with the colors that you can see, by default, it is green. But for certain concepts, the color will be assigned randomly. So what we can do is we can click on, let's say this concept, pet-friendly accommodations, click on color tag. We have an existing tag right here, or we can create our own, like so. Click add. And then we can actually change the color right here. We can choose any color we want, but ultimately what this is good for is that we can assign a color to a specific concept, or saying that we want all the related concepts to be pink, we want all the keywords to be blue, we want all the seed topics to be red, and we want all the questions to be green. topics, some related keywords, topics, and questions. We can actually move these around. We can also make the bubbles bigger, like so. Even the concepts. We may want to do that moving around or resizing the concepts or the boxes because it helps us see the map more clearly, have it more organized, visualize it perfectly, and then at the same time we can have the related concepts view minimized as it is now so that we can see the map as a whole. Two ways how we can create these arrows, these linkages, relationships, and the first way is that we can hover over this arrow and just drag it. You don't necessarily need to create links, but what they're really good for is that you'll be able to tell what originates from what. So for example, for existing articles for citing, you'll be able to tell from what related topics, keywords, and questions they came from. And for example, how do these seed topics relate to your related topics, keywords, and questions? And then from all your concepts you've created, you can create an article outline and then a blog. Now we can delete it to show the other way. We can click on this entire box, then click link to other. Then we can click on the one that we would like to relate it to. So this whole box on the right. We can even name this relationship. Let's just say related. And now we can see that it's been named. We can just go ahead and delete that and do a little simple arrow. Now for existing articles for citing and inspiration, we can move on to this one. What we can do is we can now select one of our topics or keywords. Flying with pets. And now we're selecting one of our core related topics, and we want to find out some existing articles that are based on this exact topic so that we'll be able to write about it later on. Now on the right side, we'll see show suggestions. We can click on that. Since we're interested in finding the very best top web results for our concept flying with pets. And now we'll be able to see on the right side all of the relevant and useful web articles that you can find for this topic. And maybe some of these might be really interesting for us. So we can either pin them to the notes, which will mean that it will go all the way to the top right here. Or drag it to the map. Like so. And then we can continue looking for more articles for citing inspiration, whatever we feel is fit. It could be a scientific article, it could be Reddit, it could be something that we just saw on Wikipedia we find interesting, and then stack them all up here. And then we'll have it all in one view, easy to find. You don't have to go click anywhere else to look for them. Now we can delete this to get it out of the way. Flying with pets, show suggestions. We can put a few more in there. More suggestions. Interesting is that I'm flying with Delta Airlines and I see Delta Airlines right there. So that will actually help me be very specific in my planning. Pet travel overview from Delta Airlines, let's say. We can put that in there. Airline pet policies, a guide to dog travel would be good. You can put that in there. Here, it's also possible to put images into your map. Some might find that irritating to see images in the map, and some might find that really useful. And for us, if we're able to see, for example, images of the pet carrier or images of how big the seat dimensions are, that might be really useful to put in there. So what we can do is we can click this and you'll be able to see the image here. We can also click the concept, click rename, and we can name that pet travel, let's say. And what we'll be able to do now is we can click again on the concept. We can hide the image, hide the label, or have no suggestion. So these are the options that we can take based on our needs. And maybe it's because we don't want to have an image showing right now or the label showing right now because it's distracting. And we would like to have it only showing once we download the map or have it printed out, for example, or vice versa. If we want to delete it fully, we can delete it. So another way to add images actually is, let's say, flying with pets. And then here on the right side, we can click add attachment, or we can click here, and here we have it on the right side. So now we have a few existing articles for citing and inspiration. We can start working on an outline. You can click all, click this funnel. And this funnel is important to us because we can decide what related concepts we're going to see, what related concepts we're going to use. If we want to have everything selected, that means we're on the category all in related concepts, so we can select every box. But if we're, for example, looking at just trending questions, then we'll have selected only trending questions. Trending questions, related keywords, headings. We won't do personal because then we might see some things from maps we've created before, and that will get confusing and will be in the way. So let's do it like this. And then we can see what we can come up with. How to get a passport could be one. Pet insurance. Right now we're selecting all the best related concepts that we can find that are all related to our seed topics, related topics, keywords, and questions. And through that, we want to create an article outline so that later in the process, which is coming up next, we can actually make a blog post or write an email or a newsletter or whatever content we may like. You want to see the whole sentence and you can't see it, you just hover over it and just wait a second. It says how to travel with your pet in Sims 4. Like that. How to travel. Tips for traveling with a dog. We can add our own. In cabin. And put that in there. Can delete these hints. Since we already know what we're doing, we have our map very full with concepts. We have done a ton of research, so we don't really need the placeholders anymore. And now we have a map more completed. Here are a few little important icons. This one, if we click, we'll just get rid of the whole bottom concept part. If we click on this note here, we will be removing these little orange icons, which is that it's indicating it is a text box or that there's some kind of note. So it will just disappear like that. We can zoom in, zoom out from the map. Everything is always saved automatically for you, so that's great. And now let's work on getting some kind of drafted articles. We can actually create our own box in this case. We can also import our own concepts if we want it. Paste from the clipboard or importing from CSV. So let's make our own. We can call this drafted articles. Right? We can put that here on the side, this little concept here. We have created this separate concept here down below because we want to gather all of our drafted articles that we will potentially use. We want to gather the blogs or the emails or newsletters or whatever content that we create from this entire map. We'll leave it there for a second. First, just as an example, we can actually create a subtopic here. Let's say we put it as traveling with dog on the plane, right? And it will look like so. It will become a subtopic and the previous concept becomes a title. So let's go to the article outline. Now, the important thing to note is we have arrows that are making some relationship to all of our boxes that we have. That means that once we create a draft of an article, it will include everything on the map. Now, if you didn't have any of these linkages, any of these arrows pointing to the boxes, and let's say you select only this box and you have no arrows previously, then it will just take into account only this box here. But we have all the arrows. Now, let's go to the article outline. What we can do is we have this button, Generate Text by AI. If we click on it, we have options of article, Facebook post, video script, or custom. The same with the AI plus, so we would leave that there. And now it's going to draft up an article by ChatGPT, and it will take a minute or so before it is generated. And once we have that, we can actually drag it to the map and put it here for all of our drafted articles. Now you can see that we have a title, a comprehensive guide to traveling with your pet from passport to plane, introduction, there's some points, and then there's a conclusion at the end and some keywords, relevant keywords. So we like that. This is a pretty good start. We can put it here, and now we can have that on the side. Let's go back to this again and to click this button, AI Plus. And let's say we want to do a custom one. So let's say we would like to make a newsletter. Content type newsletter, right? Custom instructions we can write, please write a friendly newsletter about how to travel with your pet on the plane. Something like this. Generate text by AI, we click on that and we give it a minute to draft up the article for us based on our custom instructions we've given. We decided to try the custom way because just a blog post isn't enough. We already have some information for doing the blog post, but we also want to go a bit further. We want to create a newsletter. We want to also be able to write our friends an email about this in case they want to travel with their pet. And so that's why we have custom, so that we can make some different rules to the instructions. So now we have it. We have the draft. And we can see this says hello, there's a body and everything. There's all the steps that you can take to do with your pet. And then at the end, it has some kind of conclusion and until next time in your name. So you can see that it's a newsletter. And we can do that for anything else as well. Now we can also write a note if we'd like. Traveling with pet. Travel with your pet on or in cabin. And that means it's going to go straight to the top here on your right hand side. You can always drag your note to the map. If we deleted something, we can just press this and it will come back. Wanted to delete this. So now we have this note here. We can edit it if we want, or we can delete it. Now that we have, for example, this newsletter, we can drag it to the map and we have another good one here. Right? Drafted articles. We can also add notes this way. You'll click here on the concept, the 3 dots, add note to it. Priority, topic, something like that. And you can see that your concept has a note right now. You can also search in your map. Let's say you wanted to find something about the regulations. There you go, you'll find that it's here and here. Also, you can't put the same words on the map. Let's say I put traveling with your pet. Now you can see that it's already been put into the map, so we can't do that. Now, if we wanted to share the map, we have a link we can copy. We can export it to PNG format, export it to PDF format, copy HTML link. If we click here on the settings icon, we have a few things important here. Target, country, and language. We can choose from the countries listed here. Map properties, as I mentioned before, you can go back and change this. And then we have the map actions, such as downloading this to text, which is really useful sometimes. It would look like so if we download it to the text. You'll see everything. Create a copy, create a blind map, export to PNG format, print, export to PDF, and everything is here. So this funnel is important right here. Community is from topics shared by others, concepts. Personal is the ones that you've shared personally. That highly affects what you see here. The other funnel that's important is here. You will see on this show suggestions what's going to be showing here. So let's say that, we wanted just scientific literature or something, then we can just leave this clicked and unselect everything else. So this is the main ways how you can use ContextMinds. There are also some collaboration features and workspaces and such features that you may be looking into in the future.